Hello, my friend, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Daily. My name is Aaron Machbitz. Who is making their return to WWE? Well, it's rumored that Nikki Bella is getting back in the ring and trying to make a return to WWE. Now, this doesn't super fire me up because I do think that WWE has a nostalgia problem. WWE loves to go back into the past and bring those stars into today. Now, Nikki Bella might come back at the Royal Rumble, but there's a bunch of stars that are coming back at the Royal Rumble that are present day superstars that need that more than Nikki Bella, right? It's also rumored that Alexa Bliss might be coming back at some point. They're having some issues with her contract. She was supposed to return on an early episode of Monday Night Raw in San Jose on Netflix, but that never happened because they're just having contract negotiations. That's more important than Nikki Bella returning. She retired. She's done. She had a great career. There's other women's wrestlers that need to be highlighted now much more than her return. And so I get that, Nikki Bella's great and she's, one of the best and people love her and maybe she'll come back at the Royal Rumble, but also Charlotte Flair could come back and Becky Lynch and Alexa Bliss and all these other superstars that need more of WWE's push or highlight rather than bringing back a nostalgia act that's going to wrestle for a little bit and maybe have a feud. Because the way I've laid out my women's WrestleMania predictions, Nikki Bella just doesn't fit in the mix. And it's some really, really good predictions of, Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair and Roxanne versus Bayley and Becca Lynch versus Valkyrie and Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky versus Liv Morgan and all of these great matches and a United States ladder match where Chelsea Green defends and climbs the ladder to win or to retain the championship. All of these great matches, right? And so I don't know where Nikki Bella fits. I don't know if she takes the pop away at the Royal Rumble from people returning potentially like Alexa Bliss and Becky Lynch, and also a WWE superstar sort of in the same vein who's always all the time being rumored to return as Goldberg. No, just stop with the Goldberg. He brings nothing to the table. I'm sorry to tell you. Yes, he was one of the most popular superstars of all time with WCW. The way they booked him, the way they pushed him, the matches he wrestled, perfect. Executed it perfectly. But he has nothing, and I mean nothing to offer WWE right now in the current age. Please, for the love of God, do not have him wrestle Gunther. No, and especially don't have him lose to Gunther with his two moves. Gunther is an absolute professional, can have a great match with anyone, so he can draw that match out of Goldberg. And yeah, they've had some few back and forth, sort of alluding to the fact that this match might happen. But please, for the love of God, keep Goldberg on the sidelines. He's done. His career is finished. He's done everything possible he can. He's can raise his kids or whatever he's got going on, or he can do his car stuff. I don't know what he does in his free time, but it's got to be better than coming back in the ring and doing whatever that is. So I just, please, do not make Goldberg's return an emphasis. Do not have him return at the Royal Rumble. Do not have him return at WrestleMania. Do not have him give a match. That's a return that I think nobody wants to see. I don't know, but maybe I'm totally wrong, because every time he comes in there, the whole fucking arena chants Goldberg, and it's no, he can't do anything. That's over. People's careers are over. We have to learn that there's a next generation of superstars that we need to build that are much more important and valuable for the future of WWE, especially now that we're on Netflix. And so with that said, there is a rumor. Now it's not more of a rumor, it's more of a been penciled in kind of by Triple H. I mean, Triple H already stated that he has the WrestleMania main event penciled in. This match could be one that's actually solidified now moving forward, which is Seth Rollins versus Gunther. I still think Gunther versus John Cena is a match we absolutely have to see, but Gunther versus Seth Rollins is an absolute main event match, killer match. That would be absolutely awesome for the fans in Las Vegas and for the fans of WrestleMania. So I think that's an amazing match. Hopefully that gets penciled in. That might start to shake out here when we get to the Royal Rumble, because Gunther also has to defeat and defend his title against Jey Uso on Saturday night's main event, and then the Royal Rumble happens and he actually has to get to WrestleMania with the strap. But if he does, then I think him wrestling and facing Seth Rollins in a main event match versus a guy who's main evented WrestleMania before to elevate Gunther and make that championship really, really worth something is amazing. Then it remains to be seen who Cody Rhodes is going to face, what's going to happen to The Rock, John Cena, CM Punk. All of those things are going to start to shake out as we move forward. But for the love of God, please don't have Goldberg in the mix. Please, please, please. And then we look over at AEW. There's some news coming over at AEW about all these superstars who want to leave. You got Britt Baker wants to leave, Ricky Starks wants to leave, Malachi Black wants to leave, and they're just being denied their release because AEW is trying to hold on to these superstars so WWE doesn't sign them and continue to sort of surpass them in this wrestling world. Because and when AEW was originally started, when they brought CM Punk back, when the Young Bucks were doing it, when CM Punk was in charge, this thing looked awesome, and it's still awesome. They still have unbelievably talented wrestlers that work for AEW, but they just have not run the company properly, in my opinion, from an outsider's perspective. And you can see many people talk about this. They talked about this on Busted Open with Dolph Ziggler the other day. Like, they just don't really know what they're doing. The storylines don't make a lot of sense, and it seems to have fallen flat because every wrestler and fan on the planet wants there to be multiple alternatives to WWE that match their status. So we actually have to pick, and competition is great. Iron sharpens iron. But when you just fall flat and you start losing the quote unquote war, which there really was none because WWE was always the king of this space. But when you have all of your wrestlers wanting to leave and go back to the place, or originally go to the place that they thought was evil and no one should ever go to, then it just looks like you don't really know what you're doing. Now I have friends, very, very close friends that work for AEW, and so I'm proud of them and I hope they keep their job and everything works great for them, but they're just not doing the things that they set out to do, to be this alternative, to be this sort of real-time competition, to have everyone create better product and better stories and better wrestlers, because there was so much intense competition happening. So we'll see what happens with Britt Baker and Ricky Starks and Malachi Black. I know that it was a resounding yes to bring Britt Baker and Malachi Black over to WWE. I don't know much about Ricky Starks, but I think he can be a good addition to the WWE roster, but then it just gets really crowded. But then you think about, okay, now we have WWE and NXT. We also have this partnership with TNA, and it looks like maybe down the line WWE will just buy TNA and it'll just be like another product, sort of like ROH is for AEW. So there just might be this whole thing's going on. But really, you want all of these companies to flourish as much as humanly possible. So there's competition for all wrestlers, and fans actually have to really decide, like, think about what they really like and really love when they watch these products. Because fans tend to watch tend to watch stuff that they can just like shit on. And that's what we're going to get into right now, is this idea of social media and fans sort of taking advantage of certain things. Like, speaking of Britt Baker, she had to go on social and tell the whole world that she didn't cheat on her previous relationship. I think she was mentioning Adam Cole. That's why it was in the news, in the wrestling news. And then fans are just like attacking her and berating her and telling her that she cheated on him. Like, fans have to do better, because a lot of times fans will just go on there and they'll just shit on everything that happens, even though they're watching it. And so if there is this competition aspect where everyone is trying to elevate their game based on the competition, then fans can actively choose what they like best, and then they can watch that. And then it's their choice to watch the thing, because there is alternatives, there is other options, so they don't have to sit and watch something they don't like and then go on social media and just complain and complain and complain and complain. And because social media, they feel like they have this insider's access to wrestlers, to words, to storylines, to things going on. And so they take their critiques a little too far by smoking and shitting on the person and asking about personal details. Like, the mystique of the professional wrestler is still there, and we have to create that. And I think fans have to do a better job on social media of controlling the way they speak to people, just like probably everyone. And we need to think of the human behind the character rather than just the character, right? Britt Baker is a real person. She, I don't know how recent she broke up with, that relationship ended, but then get to hear online that she's a cheater and that's all she does is cheat, is horrible. Nobody wants that. That's not part of her character. That's not part of what she presents on TV. It's just part of her real life. And fans have to do a better job of recognizing that and talking about the character, the story, what's happening inside of wrestling. And if you get an insider's peek of someone's life and they tell you and they show you on social, then yeah, maybe that's more of an invitation to talk about it, but it's never an invitation to shit on someone, to call them out, to break them down, to spread rumors, all of these sorts of things that no one likes, even in a normal context, especially when you're a high profile person. You don't want that happening to you. So fans, just like a message for anyone watching this, like, we have to do better. We have to choose our words carefully, and we have to understand that there is a person a real human person behind the wrestler that you love or hate. And we have to always, always, always remember that no matter what situation you're in ever, whether you're a fan or a wrestler, the person that you're talking to, dealing with, tweeting at, responding to, commenting is dealing with something that they haven't told anyone, is dealing with something that is very hard and very challenging and no one knows anything about. So we have to keep that in the back of our mind as we're trying to sort of advance ourselves on social and use it as a way to grow our story, our brand, our persona, whatever it is. But we're always dealing with real human beings on social media. And that is an important reminder to have that perspective as we dive into social media and the conversations that we can potentially have on there. And so that's all I have for you today. Thank you for tuning in. Please comment below. Let me know what you think. Love to hear your comments. And then also share, subscribe, like, send this to a friend, all of that good stuff. But I'll see you next time for another one. Cheers.